At the end of World War II, the world was left in ruins, and nations scrambled to rebuild. But as the dust settled, another battle began. The Cold War, a fight for global dominance between the United States and the Soviet Union. While much of this conflict played out in geopolitics and ideology, one of the most shocking fronts was science and technology. In this race for superiority, the US government made a controversial decision to recruit former Nazi scientists, many of whom had played key roles in the atrocities of the Third Reich. This secretive program was known as Operation Paperclip, a covert operation that would shape the future of American science and technology. The origins of Operation Paperclip trace back to the closing days of the war. As Allied forces advanced into Germany, they uncovered a treasure trove of scientific knowledge and technology. The Nazis had been at the forefront of advancements in fields like rocketry, aeronautics, and even chemical weapons. The V-2 rocket, developed under the leadership of Wernher von Braun, was a technological marvel, and the first long-range guided ballistic missile. The Allies recognized that if they didn't seize this knowledge, it could fall into Soviet hands. But there was a problem: the ethical dilemma of working with former enemies. Many of the scientists responsible for these innovations were deeply entrenched in the Nazi regime. Wernher von Braun, for example, had been a member of the SS and used forced labor from concentration camps to build his rockets. Bringing these individuals into the United States posed not only an ethical dilemma, but also a potential public relations disaster. The US government decided the benefits outweighed the risks, despite the moral quandaries and potential backlash. This decision was not taken lightly and involved intense deliberation. Under the guise of Operation Paperclip, it secretly brought over more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians. The operation was named after the paperclips used to attach new, sanitized biographies to the scientists' files, hiding their Nazi affiliations. The goal was simple: harness their knowledge to gain an edge in the emerging Cold War. This covert mission was crucial in shaping the technological advancements of the United States during the Cold War era. One of the most prominent figures brought over was Wernher von Braun. His expertise in rocketry proved invaluable to the United States, and he eventually became a key figure in NASA's space program. In fact, von Braun was instrumental in developing the Saturn V rocket, which powered the Apollo missions to the moon. But von Braun's involvement in the Nazi regime and the use of slave labor in his projects cast a long shadow over his achievements. Operation Paperclip wasn't limited to rocketry. German scientists also contributed to advancements in fields like aviation, medicine, and chemical engineering. For instance, Hubertus Strughold, often called the father of space medicine, conducted research that laid the foundation for modern aerospace medicine. However, Strughold's past was far from clean. He was linked to experiments on concentration camp prisoners, raising serious ethical questions about the origins of his findings. Despite these dark histories, the contributions of these scientists had a lasting impact on American scientific progress. The secrecy surrounding Operation Paperclip was intense. The United States government went to great lengths to obscure the Nazi backgrounds of these scientists, fearing public backlash. In some cases, it even provided false documents to shield them from scrutiny. But as details of the operation began to emerge, it sparked outrage and debate. Critics argued that the United States had compromised its moral integrity by giving refuge to war criminals in exchange for their expertise. The controversy surrounding Operation Paperclip remains a significant chapter in the history of post-war America. From a strategic standpoint, Operation Paperclip was a success. The knowledge and innovations brought over by these scientists gave the United States a significant advantage in the Cold War. Their contributions helped propel the United States space program to new heights, culminating in the Apollo moon landing, a feat that symbolized American ingenuity and technological prowess. However, the cost of this success was moral ambiguity. The program forced the United States to grapple with uncomfortable questions about accountability, justice, and the limits of power. Was it right to overlook these individuals' complicity in Nazi crimes for the sake of national security? And what does this say about the values and priorities of a nation willing to make such compromises? The ethical dilemma of Operation Paperclip remains a topic of debate among historians. On one hand, it highlights the pragmatism of Cold War strategy. The United States was not just competing for technological supremacy. It was racing to prevent the Soviet Union from gaining an upper hand. On the other hand, it demonstrates the darker side of wartime opportunism, where the ends were seen to justify the means, no matter how uncomfortable those means might be. Moreover, Operation Paperclip sheds light on the interconnected nature of science, politics, and power. While we often think of scientific progress as inherently good, this story shows how knowledge can be weaponized. The V-2 rocket, for example, was a marvel of engineering, but it was also a weapon of war that caused countless deaths. Similarly, the aerospace advancements of the paperclip scientists laid the groundwork for space exploration, but they also advanced the development of intercontinental ballistic missiles. The secrecy surrounding Operation Paperclip wasn't just about protecting the scientists. It was also about controlling the narrative. By erasing or downplaying their Nazi pasts, the United States government was able to present these individuals as symbols of progress and innovation. This selective storytelling helped to shape public perception, turning former enemies into celebrated figures of the space age. In the end, Operation Paperclip remains a complex chapter in history where strategic success was achieved at the cost of moral compromise. In the decades since Operation Paperclip, its legacy has continued to influence how we think about ethics and progress. For many, it serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the compromises that come with power. It also raises important questions about accountability in science. Should the contributions of these scientists be celebrated despite their complicity in war crimes? Or should their achievements be viewed through the lens of their dark pasts? The legacy of Operation Paperclip continues to spark debate, reminding us that progress often comes with complex moral questions. Today, the story of Operation Paperclip is a reminder of the complexities of history. It challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about the choices that shape our world. It also forces us to ask difficult questions about the nature of progress and the price we're willing to pay for it. As we continue to grapple with these issues, the lessons of Operation Paperclip remain as relevant as ever. The legacy of these decisions continues to influence our world, urging us to reflect on our past and its impact on our future.